Down into nice usable chunks, so exterior, under hood, mid-rise, and under vehicle. And what we're going to do is we're going to come in here and just mark a few topics good and then go through and use some of the tools here. So in my case, I'm just going to grab a bunch of topics and just tap on the topic name itself. And you can see every time I tap on the topic name, it's going to mark it no issues and I can go on. I'm going to tap under hood in this particular instance, and I'm going to choose a topic or two that has got an issue on it. You can see here some of them that have a red camera on it are actually marked where photos and notes are required, and we've got some here that are actually ready to input some data. So all these icons have different meanings, and we'll explore them as we go on. So in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go ahead and on the serpentine belt, I'm actually going to tap on it that it's got a problem. So I'm going to tap where it says select condition instead. And in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say the serpentine belt is fraying. And I'm going to tap off to the side. And you're going to see that it's automatically marked it as a fail. So now I'm going to tap where it says select action. And I'm going to say what I want to do about it. So in this case, what I want to do is replace the serpentine belt. And then I'm going to tap off the side. Anything that requires any type of repair in any way, shape, or form, we want to make sure we document it with a picture or video or so on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and I'm actually going to snap a picture. And what I'm going to do is take a picture of something I got in my office here. So I'm going to grab that, and now I'm going to take a picture, and I'm going to start using some of the tools that a technician has at their disposal to use in the same way they'd educate a customer in the shop. So that being said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to tap on this red arrow and turn it on. And then on that red arrow, you're going to see that it's got some tools on it that we can go ahead and use. So first thing I'm going to do is touch on the one end of it, and I'm going to drag it over to right exactly where I want to point to, and then I'm going to touch on the other end, and I'm going to use that to go ahead and move the orientation of it. So again, this red arrow would be the same equivalent as if a technician was taking their finger or a pencil or a laser pointer at the side of the car and showing the customer exactly what they're trying to draw their attention to. The next thing I'm going to do is go down to the bottom, and I'm going to tap on this little notepad, and I'm going to describe what I'm trying to show. Same as what the technician would be doing in the bay if a customer was in the bay. In this case, what I'm also going to do is start using the power of the tool by using the voice to text. So I'm going to tap on a microphone, and then I'm going to talk like a robot. The red arrow is pointing right directly to the surface of the belt where you can see that the edge is frayed. And then I'm going to press upload. So these are tools that we have to work with on the tablet. And again, what we want to do is make sure that the service writer and technician begin working together as a team to use this tools to educate the customer. The next thing I want to do is I want to point to this note field here, and I'm going to tap on it. And when I tap on it now, you're going to see that there's a couple things going on. One is there's a little camera icon with a number count. So I'm going to press that, and what it's going to do is open up, and it's going to show me the pictures I've taken. And the good thing is I can also see the topic that I've taken the picture at and the notes right there on the top of the picture. So a great way to think about this doing if you've taken some freeze frame data, screenshots, LabScope waveforms, pre-alignment specs, and so on, this is a great place where the technician can go back and find that information. In the note area here, you can see that it's broke down into internal and external notes. So an internal note, what we want to do is supply the service writer with what they need to do their job. So I'm going to tap in that area. I'm going to tap on the microphone again. This vehicle needs to have the serpentine belt replaced, period. It's frayed on the edges. New paragraph. Serpentine belt has a 130 amp alternator. New paragraph. Estimated labor time, 1.2 hours. So that's really all of the service writer needs to do their job, and it's all protected from the customer, and it says for shop eyes only. What the customer needs to know is, and again I'm going to tap the microphone, this belt is fraying, needs to be replaced. It will derail soon and cause you to be stranded. And I'm going to press OK. So again, what we want to do is while we're creating our test topic here, mark some topics good, no issues, and make sure you've got pictures on a minimum of 2 topics. So I'm going to go ahead and grab one other topic here. I'm going to say protection level fails. I'm going to tap my action, what I want to do about it. Cooling system fluid exchange. I'm going to see if I can find a picture that I can take. Maybe I've got one here. We'll just grab this one and pretend it's the cooling system. Put a note here. Level is low and protection level is below the recommended freeze point. And upload. So if you would, I'm going to give you approximately 4 minutes to create an inspection topic or your mock inspection sheet, and then we'll move on. And while you're working on that, I'm going to get my tablet out of the way. What we want to do next is be able to submit the inspection results to the service advisor and let the technician continue working on the vehicle. And to do that, what we're going to do is mark the job complete, and then we're going to use the Smart Chat bubble to submit it to the service advisor. So let's switch back over to Live Shop and see how this works. And bring my tablet back up. And again, while the technician has been working along, you can see this timer's been incrementing, and you can see this bar coming across, and you can see the technician still working away. So we want to submit this to the service advisor. So what we want to do is we want to tap where it says worksheet and change back to the worksheet. We're going to pretend the inspection is completely done. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually tap and mark the inspection sheet 100% complete. And then what I'm going to do is tap the Smart Chat bubble that's right over the top of it. And before I do, I want to make sure you draw your eyes' attention to this area up on the top. And so now the technician can still go about his job working on his vehicle. He submitted this to the service advisors so they can go about and do their job. So as soon as the technician submitted the inspection results using the Smart Chat, what's happened is the service writer gets a message to the top of today's vehicle page, and that message has got a nice link that they can click on and open the repair order. So in this case, you can see that the Smart Chat bubble was used to submit from the labor line for the inspection topic. When an inspection comes in from the technician, the first thing a service writer should do is go ahead and click on the inspection results and look it over and make sure that everything complies with how that the shop policy is for doing inspections. So in this case, we're going to pretend that it doesn't comply, and what we're going to do is say, well, what are you going to do is send it back to the technician, and to do that, you're going to click Reassign Inspection, and you're going to click OK and put it right back on their tablet. I also want to highly encourage you that if you send it back to the technician, don't ever send it back to him without letting him know what needs to be done. And to do that, what you're going to do is click on this bar, click on the chat bubble, and you're going to send them a message letting them know what needs to be done. So in this case, we're going to say it needs tread images. So we'll say the technician forgot and then press send. So don't send it back to the technician without giving them some type of expectation as far as what needs to be done. On the technician's tablet initially, if they got it open, they'll see it flashing. And then if they're not paying attention, if they're working on something else, they'll soon hear an audible alert. And in this case, I'm just going to dismiss that audible alert. And what we're going to do now is we're going to look over the inspection results that were sent. And what we want to do is say in this case, everything's in good shape. What we want to do is we want to move the repair order to the lock step. And that is where it's creating estimates so nothing goes to the technician as it gets added to the management system. So in this case, what I've done is lock this so that way nothing goes to the technician. And what I'd like you to do is respond to the poll and let me know that you've locked yours also. Okay, so let's move along here. So this is the inspection results as they come in, and what I want to do now is I want to come in here and look at the topics and make sure I get all my editing done. So in this case, I could see there's a lot of good information has been done here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on any of the photos and I'm going to start my journey as far as editing. So in this case, this picture is actually turned off where it's not going to show to the customer. I can see that I've got my internal notes and customer notes. And this particular note here is actually made for customer view, but I'm not going to turn this one on. I'm going to move over one. And now this is the picture that I really want to show to customer. Technician's done a really great job of putting the arrow on it just exactly where it goes. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, look, he's done a great job on the customer note. Let's approve that sucker. You know, this is fit for the customer to see. If I have to do any editing, as soon as I click approved, then I can get my editing done. And on the customer notes that are part of the picture itself, I can look at it again. They've done a really great job on it, and I can approve it, and I'm ready to go. You can see that this is all done at the belt topic here. And now what I'm going to do is press the over arrow. I'm going to move on to the next one. I can see this is now moved to the next topic. I've got a nice picture there. It's turned off where the customer is not going to see it. I'm going to move on to the next one, and I'm going to say, yep, he's done a great job here, and I'm going to go ahead and mark it approved. I might put a little bit more reinforcement here. I might come in here and use one of the tools, like maybe a crop, to actually, you know, get it dialed in a lot closer for them to work on. I might come in here and add another circle around the area to actually draw a little bit more emphasis on it. And again, when you're going through and doing your mock inspection, come in here and just grab some of the tools and use them just to get a chance to see how they work. I might also want to go ahead and while you're experimenting, experiment with changing the colors on them and so on. So in this case, I'm going to leave that red, but I'm going to add another arrow to it, and I'm going to make it a different color just because I can. So again, experiment a little as you go on. You'll see these number counts changes that go through here. I'm going to click apply, and I'm going to go, and if there's nothing else I need to do, I'm going to press close, and I've got all my editing done at this time. The next thing I'm going to do, depending on what management system on it, I might go ahead and press the work order update button and send the information, the service packages or labor codes that have been in here, canned jobs, send it over to management system so I can actually estimate. So after we've done all our editing and moved it over and we build a good estimate, anything that the technician recommends on the inspection should be estimated by the service writer and be ready to present to the customer. And when I say anything the technician recommends, I mean recommend and supported by proper documentation. So if that proper documentation is some text, a picture, circle, arrow, or whatever, if it's supported by proper documentation, it needs to be estimated by the service advisor. After they estimate it, then they're going to move it over to a workflow step that's waiting for approval. And what's going to happen is they're going to have this little icon pop up here that's going to have a little clock in it. And when 20 minutes goes by, they're going to be able to see a little phone pop up on the screen. So what we're going to do next is move back over to Live Shop, and we're going to send it to the customer. And I guess before we go that far, what I'd like you to do is spend just a few minutes and edit some pictures on your own. So use some circles and arrows, get them on the screen, and let's make the inspection results impactful enough to the customer that they're ready to start talking about options and pricing. Authorization through education is the tools that we want to do, and we want to put that customer in a position to buy rather than feeling like they have to defend themselves from being sold to. The next thing we want to do is we want to move over to Live Shop and actually send the results to the customer simply by moving it over to the approval step, and that's what we're going to do next. So let's move back to a Live Shop. And now what I'm going to do, because the estimate's already completely done, we're going to move it over to waiting for approval. And then when we click OK, what it's going to do is let us look over the inspection results and be able to make sure they're in great shape before the customer actually sees them. and then the only thing we have to do to send it to the customer is just press OK. So what I'd like you to do is move it over to waiting for approval and send the results to yourself. So what I want you to do is see that the link here where the customer can go ahead and actually adjust their communication settings. They can move these sliders on and off and press submit and configure these exactly the way they want to. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come down here and I'm going to get the inspection results, and let's take a look and see how we did. So in this case, we can see the inspection results, the service writer, technician, see all the things that are good. We can see things that have a picture on it. We can tap on that picture, make sure the customer understands that they can go ahead and click on it, and they'll be able to see exactly what that picture means to them along with the text and be able to zoom in on it. And if we've done our job, we'll also have some informational videos that show them exactly what's going on their vehicle. So again, let me know with the poll that the inspection results came to you on your device. So you can see this number that's right above here that's been incrementing as I've been looking over the inspection results. You can see this number counting up. And what we want to do is we want to get in a position where the service writer lets this number count up until it doesn't count up any higher. And if 20 minutes elapses from the time that you sent the results to him, that's when you're going to get this nice little phone pop up on here. The way I like to use this phone is if you click on the phone, it's going to pop up and show you the customer's number. If you call it and you don't get a live human, press cancel and just leave the phone on it. If you call it and you get a live human, then what we want to do is we want to come over here and click OK, and what you're going to see is a nice check mark on there, and it's going to move back over here the way you'd expect. At this particular point in time, we should see waiting for approval on here. The next thing we want to do is after work has been approved, then what we want to do is we want to come down here and we want to mark it waiting for work finished. Click OK. It's again going to verify that all these jobs that are added on here are what we want the technician to actually do. What we're going to be able to do is watch the technician mark the jobs done on his tablet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my tablet. I'm going to mark a few jobs done. Stretch this out a little bit bigger so you can see. And as I'm marking jobs done, what I'd like you to do is watch these numbers here change. So I'm going to mark my oil and filter lube 100% done. I'm going to mark my scan computerized controls 100% done. You're going to see now that everything is come back through here and is marked completely done. You can see on the tablet it said all the jobs are complete. And you got this nice green check mark. And again, we want to look on the top here to make sure that there's nothing else that needs to be done. After work is finished, the technician is going to do his final submit. He's going to put his out mileage if you're set up to require that. You're going to mark all work complete and press OK. And at that time, it's going to be gone off of his tablet. And so let me get this out of the way. The next step for the service advisor is to come over here, open it up, make sure everything is marked complete by the technician. It's got them nice black dots on it. Do whatever kind of updating they need to get everything into the management system. If they've got to update any parts prices, they can go ahead and click the work order update button to go ahead and bring back all the clock time and job assignments in Protractor, bring it back into the management system. Then they're going to move it over to waiting for pickup. It's going to open one last window, let the service writer see and prepare the next service reminder before it ever goes to the customer. We didn't do these two jobs, so the pictures and so on are going to be repurposed. They can click on the bell icon and see what the next reminder is going to look like that's going to go to the customer before it ever goes out to them for the reminder date. And you can see that's got the customer's profile picture on it. Here's the serpentine belt on it. Here's the information with pictures. They can learn more about it, again, by clicking on this. They can come through here and they can say on the next visit, I would like to discuss my options, or maybe later. So again, this is a great way to do a quick check on what that reminder is going to look like, and then they'll go ahead and press close. The repair order is going to disappear off the today's vehicle technician view, and it's going to be available in the workflow view. And again, bear in mind that we want to be able to use both of these views separately, and we don't want to wait for any page reload, so having them both open where you can toggle back and forth between them real quickly is a great tool to have. So let's follow up what we're finishing up here. What we want to do is make sure that we understand going forward is to get everybody to start working together as a team in the shop environment. We know that in a lot of shops, technicians don't get paid to do inspections, but they do get paid by doing the work that the inspection produces. And again, by working together, we want to make sure that the techs and service writers start working together as a team. The technicians starting the process by doing a good inspection, putting the red arrow on it, which is their digital finger, putting some notes on it, and so on, and giving that service writer some great content to not only have great documentation so that the way estimate everything, but also be able to send it to the customer. There's no reason for the technician to over or under recommend, because if the process is every vehicle gets inspected, everything the technician prescribes and documents the need should be estimated and presented to the customer. And if it doesn't get approved today, it's no big deal, because we're going to be repurposing the inspection content on the next reminder that goes to the customer. The technicians are now in control of their own destiny by working together with the service advisor to put the customer in a position of authorization through education, moving that customer where they're in the mood to buy rather than feeling like they have to defend themselves from a high pressure sales. Anytime we can give the customer the ability to make educated buying decisions based on the content we send them, that's a great place to be in. Let the technicians witness the way you're doing this at the counter with a customer if you can. If not, maybe send these inspection results to their own device, let them take a look at it. Or maybe in a shop meeting, open up some inspection results and let your team criticize each other's work in a positive manner on what can we do better with these pictures, circles, and arrows, and so on to make this more educational to the customer in terms the customer could understand, not in technician lingo. So these are some exercises for you to do to go back when you go back to your shop and start working with your staff. As the implementer, your job is to learn today and then immediately start training your staff, and that'll be some great reinforcement for you. We want to make sure that everybody knows that using the internal chat communication is the #1 way to save time, so that way there is no wasted time and there's great documentation. And again, you can see that yellow arrow on it, or a yellow area in the highlight here, and that is telling the service writer exactly where the part needs to be added or the adjustment needs to be made, so they don't have to read the entire repair order. Basically, just tapping on the smart chat icon right on the labor line that the change needs to be made is going to highlight it in bright yellow for the service advisor. So what we also want to do is make sure that we know that you feel empowered to go ahead and train your staff. And what we also want to do is make sure that you know that there's a tool out there called the Business Control Panel. And I'm going to give you a brief overview or look of it. And what I want you to do is just understand where it is and how to find it, so that way you can get with your product advisor and start using it. So to find it, what I'm going to have you do is go over to the hamburger menu, left click on it. Go down to where it says BCP, Shop Meeting, and click on it. And what you're going to do is open up the Business Control Panel. And the Business Control Panel is a great tool because unlike reports that we had in the past, a traditional dashboard where you had to first look at it and then start doing some detective work to find out what's going on, what we do is put behaviors in a graphical format so that way you can understand everything that's going on. When you first start with your product advisor or / digital coach, they're going to help you set some thresholds here that you can actually design for your shop to make sure everybody's trending in the right direction. And then they're going to go into an area we call primary, where we know every shop has to have a average repair order dollar amount that's decent, new customers, and retention rate, and so on. And let's go over to a live shop so we can look at how this works. Here I'm going to go ahead and click on ARO, and I'm going to come through and just show you a graph the way it's set up. And here what we can do is we can see different behaviors. So I'm just going to come down here and I'm going to choose edited picture rate. And what it's going to do is give me the ability to filter bound by the individual employees, so I can see who my superstars are and maybe see who might be struggling a little bit. Again, everything's about goals and accountability, and you'll be able to assign tasks to your individual employees to make sure that we can all trend in the right direction. So if you would, respond to the poll and let me know that you at least know that the Business Control Panel exists, and you look forward to getting with your product advisor / digital coach to use it in your shop. So all of you by now should feel empowered to go back to your shop and train your staff on the items that we just covered today. We'd also like to encourage you to don't waste any time doing it. The best way to learn is like you did today, learn, do it with your own fingers, and then go back to the shop and start putting these things in place. We also want to know is that after your foundation is built and nice and solid, so if you're doing inspection rate over 60% as an example, you're taking pictures, you're editing them, and you're getting them sent to the customer, then our product advisor or digital coach is going to move you into the next training after your foundation is strong, called Impactful Pictures. And what that is about making the inspection results in general so impactful to the customer that they can get all the education they need from the content that you send them. They don't have to go looking for it anywhere else. And then they're going to call the shop and they'll be ready to talk about options and pricing. So this is the next level training that you'll be going to after you master the first levels. I'd like to encourage you that if you don't already belong to it, to sign up and join the Digital Shop Talk Forum. This is a place that's got over 3,200 people just like you, and they're there to help each other out, ask and answer questions. So I'd like to encourage you, first of all, to search. If the topic that you have of how do I do this or that isn't in there, I encourage you to ask that question. We don't allow topics that are things that are what you would perceive a problem with either the today's vehicle page or the tablet. What we want you to do is use the help button to do that. And there's a help button, a yellowish orange help button on today's vehicle page on a work order pop-up. There's a little triangle on the technician's tablet that they can submit a help ticket from there. Or on the business control panel, there's a nice blue question mark. And these are all areas that you can submit questions or help requests from. Again, the reason why we don't put these type questions on the Facebook forum is that we capture a lot of information just like you would if a check engine light comes on a car. There's freeze frame data. Well, we capture the same information from the today's vehicle page or the tablet, so that way we can get to the root cause of the problem quickly and efficiently without a lot of back and forth between the shop. I'd like to thank you for attending today. I'm going to be putting some links in the chat before I'm done. One of them is going to be for the smart markers. Another one is going to be for the technician tablet training video. I highly encourage the service advisors to go through and view that. So it's not just for the technicians. It's good to understand what the technician can do with the tablet. A digital standard operating procedure. And the last one I'm going to put in there is a link to this recording so that you can go back and play through any parts that you need to get up to date on. Maybe we went through a little bit fast. You can go to and find that section and press pause and play and get some reinforcement. And again, as you have new employees come on, these recordings are a very valuable tool to use for sure. So once again, thanks for coming. I'll be hanging on the line for another 2 minutes. And if I don't see any other questions come in, I'd like to thank everybody and wish you a great day and go make some money.
I'm Welcome to Impactful Pictures SmartFlow training webinars for AutoVitals. My name is Bill Connor, and I'll be your trainer for today. Our goal today is to empower you to know why pictures are important for job approval and how to edit those pictures and videos so you can train your staff right after today's training. Today we'll be using a Live Today's Vehicle page, tablet, and taking some polls along the way to make sure you're understanding the training and tracking right along with me. If you're live in the webinar, I encourage you to hold down the Alt key, hit the letter H, and chat in questions along the way. So what are impactful pictures and what do they have to do with the job approval? What we really have to remember is a customer will not buy what they don't understand. The solution is when the motorist is sent the inspection result, then has time to review it on their own. They then see clear, impactful images and videos of what's going on to their vehicle. This is full transparency. With those pictures on the inspection results, they're in a better position to make an educated buying decision. What we've done is move the customer in a position of authorization through self-education. And again, we want to put them in the mode to be ready to buy rather than having to defend themselves from what they perceive as high-pressure sales. Before the end of this training, you'll be able to do some things with your staff. What we want to do is make sure you've got a good understanding of the takeaways, and that is to make sure that everybody understands the proper and importance of good customer content going to the customer. And we're going to do that with our picture and video editing. We want to make sure you understand how to get your technicians and service advisors to work together as a team to make this impactful content for your customers. We're also going to show you some quick wins of what pictures and videos look like. And we're going to go through how to edit the pictures, add notes to the pictures, and so on. And once again, working to get your technicians and service advisors to work together as a team because we're all in it together. So there's some things you're going to need to get the most out of today's training. And the first one is to have your Today's Vehicle page open. your point of sale open, a tablet with your SmartFlow app open and logged into your shop and assigned to a technician of your choice. So I'm going to take a pause right here and either launch a poll or let you get ready. What we want to do is, before we finish the training today, is let you create a mock demo with some pictures on it so that way you can follow along and then train your staff as you go back to the shop. If you haven't already made it for our prior initial boost training, create a vehicle with the customer name of Blue Steel, enter your own cell phone number so that you can send the information to you when we're finished. I'll be pasting the VIN number in chat, or I'll be including it on the recording. Make sure you create at least one labor line on it, preferably an inspection. And we're going to assign this repair order to a technician that's assigned to your tablet as we move on. So I'm going to pause here and let you take about a minute to create this vehicle if you haven't already done it. Including it on the recording. Make sure you create at least one labor line on it, preferably an inspection. And we're going to assign this repair order to a technician that's assigned to your tablet as we move on. So I'm going to pause here and let you take about a minute to create this vehicle if you haven't already done it. So what do motorists see when they get the inspection results sent to them? They're going to see a report similar to this, or on their phone it will be a different orientation, but there's a lot of valuable information for them. They'll be able to see the technician and service writer that's working on their vehicle. They'll be able to see the pictures they can tap on to zoom in and out, and they'll also be able to see some informational videos. Once again, make sure your customers know at drop-off how the tool works. Bookmark an inspection result and show them that they can tap on it, and it's going to let them zoom in and out. Make sure that they know there's informational videos here that will tell them about systems and components on their vehicle. And an important thing to remember is we want to make sure that they have everything they need to do to make good information or good decisions while they're out and about. So again, we want to be able to stop their thumb as they're scrolling through the device on their phone. We also talked about we want to take some pictures of things that are good, and our drop-off conversation with the customer goes along the lines of, "Ma'am, sir, this is what an inspection result looks like. You're going to see some pictures here. These are pictures of things that are good. You're going to see some pictures of things that are wearing, and some things that are actually, maybe in some cases, actually need some attention." The reason why we take pictures of good items or things for future visits is because we can use that to help you predict over your service visits with us the right things they're wearing at in case you need to budget for future repairs. So that's a great thing to do. And what I'm going to do here in just a minute is actually start through the picture taking process and show you how to use some of the tools on your tablet. So what I'd like you to do is get your tablet out and follow along with me. And I'm going to put my little mini over here on the side so that way you can actually follow along with me and still be able to take a picture of what's in the center of the screen here. So if you would, dispatch your little Mini Cooper to a technician of your choice. Press the open button. Open an inspection sheet of your choice. And what we want to do first of all is find a break topic So in this condition, in this particular instance, I'm going to tap on my brake pad as far as it having no issues. I'm going to tap on the camera icon, and I'm going to snap a picture of this. And if you would follow along, I wanted to add a red arrow. I want to take the red arrow and touch on the point end of it and drag it over toward where the brake gauge meets the caliper or the brake lining, and rotate it around. I want you to tap the notepad on the bottom edge of your camera right here, and I want you to add a note. And I'm going to tap on the microphone to add this note here, and my note is going to say, the arrow is pointing right directly to the inner brake pad on your front caliper, and it is in great shape today. 10 millimeters is almost new. And then click upload, and you finish out your first picture. The next thing I want to do is switch on to the next topic. And I'm going to move over and get my other image up here. I want to add an arrow. Again, we're going to take and point it right directly to it. The gauge is measuring your brake pad thickness at 6 millimeters, and we will monitor this on future services. And we're going to upload it also. And I just want to make sure we mark no topic on this one is needed. And on the second picture I took, I want to go ahead and make it to where it says suggested for future service. And you'll see why when we go do some editing. And again, it doesn't matter that we're putting these in the exact place they go, because we're talking today about editing pictures. And so when you think about it, a battery status tester with the terminals, taking a picture of that can be a quick win. And if it's not, we're still showing the customer their condition of their battery changing over time as it comes in on subsequent visits. Cracking belts is another one. Brake pad thickness, so we've already taken a few pictures. Fluid leaks and anything in the suspension that has any kind of a movement, rattle, noise. Even pulleys, grinding noises and things like that, because when we take video, the audio is still going to be captured with it. And you can see here a couple instances where we've actually done a pretty good job of doing that. But we're going to move forward a little bit more. And what I want to do is challenge you to understand is that a picture alone does not get you a job authorization. So when you look at this picture, whether you're a service advisor or technician, but more importantly, look at it in the eyes of the consumer, does this picture really tell you anything? Would it stop your thumb on the phone? Or could you even tell what's going on in the picture? So a picture alone doesn't really do justice. But now if we take it one step further and we put some emphasis on the picture by pointing an arrow to it, drawing a circle around it, and adding some text to it, this one here, it makes it very apparent that the tab on the connector was damaged and the sensor was not plugged in all the way. So can you see the difference between an edited and a non-edited picture? Think about the customer. Think about what they would see in the shop if a technician had actually had the service writer walk the customer out to the vehicle and the technician show them what's going on in the vehicle. I promise you the technician is going to take their finger, a laser pointer, or a long narrow screwdriver and point right to that connector, and they're going to say a few words to that customer. They're going to say, the tab is damaged, the sensor was not plugged in all the way, and this is what was causing your problem. And again, we don't really want the customer hanging around the shop, but we still want to use the number one tool that we've had for as long as I can remember, and that's show and tell at the side of the vehicle with the service advisor and the customer. Here's another before picture. I challenge you to find and tell me what was wrong with this. And again, look at it in the eyes of the customer. But now we've got a service writer and a technician is teamed up. The technician is taking his finger and drawing the red arrow. The service writer's added a circle right around it, and the technician actually supplied some text that the service writer enabled. So here it's very clear to the customer that the wire was damaged and it was disconnected. And again, this is how we put the customer in the position of authorization through self-education, where they call the shop ready to talk about options and pricing. So we're going to take some more pictures here in just a minute, but before we do that, what I want to do is open up a live shop and make sure your settings are configured properly for the default colors for the arrows for the service advisor. And what we're going to do to make this verification is we're going to go over to the top left where the three bars are. That's called a hamburger menu. Left click. We're going to go down to where it says inspections and go to where it says inspection sheets. And we want to make sure the color for each of these statuses actually are colors that actually draw the customer's attention to it. To change the color, what you'll do is click on the pencil. And you'll make sure to come over here and use the color picker to choose the color of your choice. So good's normally green, future would be yellow or suggested for this service, and then fail would be red, just like a traffic signal. But you could have more statuses than this enabled for your shop, and you'd want to choose the appropriate color, and that's going to be the default color for your circles and arrows. What I'd like to do is have you follow along as I take some pictures that we'll be using to edit here in just a minute. So the first picture I'm going to take is going to be on the under hood topic, and it's going to be on the topic of brake fluid. And I know this is a brake fluid fail, so I'm going to tap on select condition, and I'm going to tap low fluid and contaminated. I'm going to tap off to the side, and I'm going to choose my action, which in this case is going to be a brake inspection because the fluid's low, obviously went somewhere, and a brake fluid exchange. I'm going to tap off to the side, and now I'm going to use the camera to capture our first picture. I'm going to focus on the master cylinder. I'm going to take a picture. I'm going to say, yes, I want to add a red arrow. I'm going to take that arrow and take the point, and I'm going to point right at the fluid level. I'm going to rotate it around. And then I'm going to tap on the notepad right to the right of the red arrow and put a description here in words the customer can understand. I'm going to tap on a microphone, and I'm going to describe what I see in customer-friendly terms. The brake fluid is low. When it's low, that's normally a sign that the linings are wearing thin. And then OK, and then upload. Easy as pie, that's our first picture. I'm going to move over and I'm going to take the second picture, which is going to be on the same topic. So I'm going to tap the camera again. I'm going to get in close. Yes, I'm going to add an arrow. And that arrow is going to point right to the colored strip. And then I'm going to, again, add some words here to describe this to the customer. The red arrow is pointing right directly to this test strip, and you can see that it matches the testing strip tool where it says replace brake fluid due to contamination. I'm going to press the upload button. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually tap on this camera button here. And what I want to do is make sure that you understand, as far as a technician, that by tapping on the camera in this area, you can go back and see your note, and you can also scroll through and see the pictures you've taken. That can be very handy for freeze frame data and other reasons. I'm going to tap into Technician Internal Note area for shop eyes only. The brake fluid is dark brown, it's low, and it also fails the test. I recommend a complete wheels-off brake inspection, and regardless of the pad thickness, a fluid exchange. I'm going to go down into the customer note area. Due to the brake pads being possibly thin due to low fluid level, I recommend a wheels-off brake inspection, and in either case, I recommend a fluid exchange due to the contamination. So 2 different types of notes. I'm going to move on to the next picture that we want to take. In this condition here, what I want to do is under hood, I want to look for the belt topic, which in my case is the second one down. I'm going to tap the serpentine belt is worn out. I'm going to tap off to the side. You can see it's automatically marked at a fail. I'm going to say what I want to do about it, which is replace the serpentine belt. I'm going to tap the camera button again. I'm going to let it focus on my belt and tool. As I'm a good technician, I'm going to take an arrow and point right directly to it. Rotate it around. Let the customer what I see. Tap the microphone. This is a tool that we use to check the belt for wear. Sometimes they look good, but they are worn, and the tool is used as a gauge. And upload. And in this case, I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to go to the tablet icon on the inspection line itself, where you got the number 1 count now. I'm going to tap on it. And on the internal notes area, serpentine belt is worn on the face, slight cracking, new paragraph, 1 serpentine belt, 135 amp alternator, new paragraph, estimate 1.1 hours to replace. And then I'm going to go down to the customer area and put a note here. The belt face is worn and it should be replaced to prevent being stranded on the road. And I'm going to press OK. So now we've taken a picture and we've also taken some notes for the service writers. In this case, we've got another brake pad 1, so I'm going to come in here and take our 3rd picture on the brake linings, and I want to go to brake pad, and in this case, I'm going to say it's close to the end of its life. You're going to see it's automatically marked it with the yellow triangle. We don't want to do anything at this time, but we do want to take a picture of it. Want to add a red arrow. The arrow is pointing right directly to the brake linings that are between the caliper and the brake rotor. Again, we're only putting things here that are customer friendly. And I'm going to press upload. And in this case, we're going to tap on the icon and we're going to go ahead and record what the brake pad thickness is. And we're also going to say what the brake pad thickness was on the rear. We're going to come down here and add a note. We will be monitoring your brake pad thickness on future visits as they are starting to get thin. And press OK. Cool, we got an upside down battery, so we're going to go under hood. We're going to find the battery. We're going to select the condition. and nothing matches there, so we're just going to tap that it's okay because it hasn't failed a test. And we're going to take a picture anyways because we can use this when a customer calls us next week and says they wanted to buy a new battery. We can look up the history report and find out what group size it is without having to have them bring the car back in. So it's very helpful in cases where we want that customer to give us a call and let us know they're coming. And in this case, I'm going to tap on the icon. The battery group size is 95. And upload. Let's go on to the next picture. And now we're getting to where we actually want to bring up a video. So I'm going to bring a video over here that you can take a video of the video. And I've got the audio turned off so you can add your own. And I want to go under suspension on here. So I'm going to go under mid-rise height. And let's go to under vehicle. Let's see if we can find the suspension topic. And I'm going to go to other suggested items or notes, suggested service. And in this case, I'm going to override it because it's definitely a fail. I'm going to come over to my camera and tap on it. And then what I'm going to do is, when you're ready, I'm going to give you a few seconds to get ready. I'm going to go ahead and actually play the video so that you can play and record the video also. So to do that, I'm going to tap the video button that's right underneath the camera button. Now it's enabled for a video. And I'm going to press the record button and let you take a video of the video. So in this case, what we're seeing is the ball joint popping in and out of the socket. And it really needs to be replaced because it's getting to be where it is going to be a safety issue shortly. Regardless, it's still changing your wheel alignment. So you can see it's captured a full 20 seconds of video along with the audio. Now we've got these nice markers at the end of them on both sides. And what that's for is to take and adjust the in and out point in the video. So in my case, I always prefer to let the service writer have all the information they need to work with, unless I've captured something that I don't want them to be able to hear or see. And now I'm going to tap the notepad that's now down in the bottom left-hand corner, and I'm going to add some notes to the video. You can clearly see the left lower ball joint has extreme wear, is affecting the alignment, and more importantly, is at the point of being a safety concern. And then upload. In this case, I'm going to tap the notepad for the service advisor and give them some information. The lower ball joint is worn, unsafe. New paragraph. Lower left ball joint, new line. Eccentric bushing, new paragraph. Estimate 2.3 hours to replace, and don't forget to add a wheel alignment to the repair order. The lower ball joint is worn, it's affecting your alignment, and more importantly, this is a safety concern that needs to be corrected immediately. And again, I've given the service advisor everything they need to do their job. Now that we've given the service advisor everything they need to work with, let's tap on the work order button, move back to the work order, find the inspection that we're working on, tap on the Smart Chat bubble to submit this to the service advisor, and then being we're completely done with the inspection, I'm going to tap 100% complete, and I'm going to continue as a technician working on other items that I have to work on. Let's go through and do some editing on our repair order. I'm going to come up here and left click on the link, Move up on the screen a little bit more. I can see the technician submitted the inspection results. I'm going to left click on the inspection report. I'm going to come down and look at the different pictures that are here. I'm going to left click. And in this case, I can see that this is information about it. The technician is actually not marked it failed. So what I'm going to do is decide based on this picture and the next one, which one I'm going to use. Click on the arrow. I'm going to drag it over and I'm going to point it right directly to good. And we're going to do this so we get the customer, just like a traffic signal, to start getting into mindset green, yellow, red. So that way on subsequent visits, we're actually stepping them along in the process. I'm going to click apply. I'm going to move to the next picture. I don't need to show this one anymore. I'm going to look at the next picture, look and see what the technician's done. Actually, he's got an arrow in the appropriate spot. That's really good. He's got a lot of good notes up there. I'm going to read through the notes. That looks like he's done a really good job. A good job here also. And again, as I've went through here, I've made sure that one's turned off. I don't want to show the customer anything that doesn't make sense. I'm going to move on to the next one. I can see this is already turned off and the tech's got a lot of good notes there, and this tech is always good about putting arrows there, so I'm going to go ahead and read through his information here. I'm going to mark this one approved. I'm going to read down through the notes here. He's done a great job here also. I'm going to move on to the next one. Now here we've got some information up on the top where the technician has actually marked some measurements. And I'm going to look over here, and you know what? He's got an arrow pointing right directly to it, but I can't show that because this topic is marked future. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here. See, it's marked that it's close to the end of its life. I'm going to actually show the dimensions. And I'm going to come down here and turn it on so it can be seen. I'm going to approve these notes because he did a good job on it. I'm going to come over here and click here to add an arrow. And now, because this is marked for a future service, I'm going to rotate this arrow around. And I'm going to add a second arrow so that way the customer can see I'm pointing to the brake pad thickness between the two arrows. Again, I want to be fully informational for the customer. I'm going to press the left arrow, or excuse me, the right arrow, and go on to the next picture. And again, I don't need to see that any longer. I'm going to move on to this picture here. Looks like the technician did a pretty good job on that, but let's see what he did with the arrow. And he's got a nice arrow pointing right directly to it, so I'm going to mark this approved. These are customer-facing notes on the inspection topic line. And I'm going to mark these approved because he's done a good job here also. I'm going to press next. And in this case, this is going to be the information that is on the video itself. And you can see in this area that there's no picture here because we don't edit the video here. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to just mark this approved because this is the note that I want to be on the video. I'm going to press next. I can see that I've got no more notes to approve because now it's on 0, and I'm going to press close. As I go down through the inspection sheet, I'm going to look through here, and if I had any notes that weren't approved, they'd be grayed out. And I'm going to keep scrolling down through here, and I'm going to look at my video, and I want to take you through a little bit of video editing. So I'm going to left click on the video to open it up. I'm going to look at the video and just give you a quick way to edit. So here what I'm going to do is I'm going to set the end point on the video. I don't want it to start playing until it gets there, so I'm trimming some off of the beginning. I'm going to come over here and trim a little bit off the end. And I'm going to come in here about the middle and say, I want my notes to be coming on at this particular time. I'm going to go ahead and mark cut. So it's going to cut it to that length. And then I'm going to mark approve. And now I should be ready to go. So if you've been following along, I'm going to press the view button and let's take a look at it. So in this case, what I'm going to do is come down here and do a little quality control check. Here's our information we had on there. Here's our battery that's turned right side up, and we have our group size on it now. We come down in here into suggested for service. You can see the arrow pointing to the low fluid. And again, this is just as suggested at this time because it's not in the danger zone, but we do require or suggest that they do a brake inspection and so on. I'm going to come down here also to the brake pads. You can see that this is showing them where the arrows are pointing. Very descriptive. Come down a little bit further. I'm going to click on and read our notes on the belt. Again, highly educational to the customer. And we're going to come down and make sure our video is ready to play and it's trimmed. Now that you've had a little bit of practice editing, how do we measure to see how successful you are with your staff? So to do that, what we're going to do is come over and get to the TASE vehicle page, left click on the hamburger menu, go down to where it says Business Control Panel Shop Meeting. We're going to log in with our fail-safe account. And what I'm going to highly encourage you to do is come in here in the settings area and set some thresholds for your shop. So I've already got ARO configured here, but what I want to do is come in here and write inspection rate. And this is a test shop, so it's going to show low. But what I want to do is I want to see whenever I get to my inspection rate at 60% of the vehicles that come in the shop. The next thing I want to know is, are we actually sending the results to the customer? I want you to be able to measure that. And I want you to set it to in the 60% range also. And the next thing we want to do is configure it for edited pictures. And again, we want to set it for the 30% range as a target goal. How you're going to be using this is with your product advisor or digital coach is you're going to come in here to where it says primary. Now I've switched over to live shop, and you can see that they have their goals and accountability here, and they can also filter by the individual employees to see who's doing well and who's not. So again, get with your digital coach or product advisor. Have them help you set up your business control panel, the thresholds, and you're ready to work. I highly encourage you to use the business control panel to conduct weekly meetings. Keep an eye on the metrics. These are things that we recommend. Each shop is going to be different, and the main thing is to keep moving forward, keep measuring, document the changes, and continue to grow. Do you feel empowered to go back to your staff and train after what you've just learned? We'll also be at the end of this webinar, we'll be putting some links in the chat that take you directly to the recording, and we'll break it down into chunks so that if you need any reinforcement or you'd like to use the recording to train your staff, you'll know exactly where to find it in the academy that's on your hamburger flyout menu.